Daily, I've always woken up, got to the gym, got 500 shots up. I never really went to school like that. We had like online classes and stuff like that. So I just go to the gym, work out, go eat, work out again, go home, go to sleep. So basketball was really, real fun, actually.
Julian Newman. The name once echoed through the world of basketball like a cannonball. For years, people thought they were witnessing the rise of a generational talent, a prodigy destined to take the basketball world by storm. So, where did it all go wrong? In this video, we will unravel the story of one of the biggest talents the basketball world has ever seen. The meteoric rise, sharp fall, and surprising pivot of Julian Newman. Whatever happened to Julian Newman? 11 years ago, the name Julian Newman was everywhere. Like millions of others, I personally stumbled across the viral YouTube video that showcased a 12-year-old with mind-boggling basketball skills. It wasn't just another cute kid playing sports clip. No, this was different. The 7th grader's workout was insane. His lightning-fast dribbling, endless cardio drills, and absurd deep three-pointers left viewers speechless. Julian Newman wasn't just good for his age. He looked like he could take on players twice as old. Let's get to the start. Julian's story began like something out of a movie. At just 10 years old, this 4'5" 5th grader didn't just play on his middle school basketball team, he dominated. Then came the game that changed everything. Newman dropped a jaw-dropping 91 points. Yes, 91 points in a single game. That performance earned him an instant promotion to Downey Christian School's varsity team. Think about it, a 70-pound kid going up against high school players twice his size, and not just holding his own, but excelling. Through his first 3 starts, he averaged 12.4 points, 11 assists, and 4.3 steals per game. What really held the crown out for Julian wasn't just his stats, though. It was his electrifying play style, the way he moved on the court, pacing through defenders as if he had eyes in the back of his head. Add his small frame to the mix, and you've got a kid who captured the hearts of fans worldwide. Videos of his games flooded YouTube, racking up millions of views. People started calling him a basketball prodigy, a future NBA star in the making. At the time, it seemed like the sky was the limit for this basketball prodigy. His mixtapes didn't just pull in millions of views, they also caught the attention of major media outlets. Before long, Julian was making headlines in the New York Times and Sports Illustrated. He even landed guest spots on The Steve Harvey Show and Conan, where he shared his experiences as a 7th grader starting on a varsity basketball team. Everywhere you turned, people were talking about him, and the general consensus was clear. Julian Newman had a future as bright as a championship trophy under arena lights. But then, something shifted. Today, Julian Newman is better known for his reality TV show, Hello Newmans, than for anything he's done on the basketball court. How did the kid who was once heralded as a future star fall so far off the radar? Let's dive into the details. Why Julian Newman failed to live up to expectations. Sometimes the spotlight burns too brightly. As Julian's highlight reels made him an internet sensation, the world seemed to forget he was still just a kid. Fame came fast and hard. He appeared on Ellen, Good Morning America, and even had his own reality show, Born Ready. All the signs pointed to a meteoric rise. But there were a lot of factors at play. When Julian's early mixtapes hit the internet, the reaction was electric. Fans marveled at his talent, and his flashy style of play drew comparisons to the likes of Allen Iverson. His social media following exploded overnight, and university basketball programs started taking notice. From the outside, it seemed like nothing could stop him. But as his fame grew, so did the scrutiny. Julian's style of play, which was celebrated for its flair, started to raise eyebrows. Instead of acting like a traditional point guard, running the offense, setting up teammates, and making smart plays, Julian focused on individual highlights. His game often revolved around dazzling dribble moves, flashy step backs, and contested shots. While these moments made for great YouTube clips, they didn't always translate to team success. And then there was his attitude. Fans began noticing a cockiness in the way he played, and that rubbed people the wrong way. His tendency to showboat after big plays made him a polarizing figure. If you were rooting for him, it was entertaining, but if you weren't, it came across as arrogant. At most schools, this kind of behavior would have been shut down by the coach, but Julian had a unique situation. His father, Julian Newman, was his head coach at both Downey Christian School and Prodigy Prep. Rather than reining in his son's showmanship, Jamie encouraged it. The result? Julian dominated against weaker opponents, often scoring 40 or more points in games. But against tougher competition, like basketball powerhouse IMG Academy, the cracks began to show. I'll never forget the time Julian's team faced IMG. It wasn't just a loss, it was an obliteration. IMG won by 60 points. The flashy moves and deep threes that had made Julian famous didn't work against elite players. Instead of solidifying his reputation, games like this added fuel to the fire of his critics. The backlash was brutal. Online, people tore him apart, creating compilation videos of his lowlights and cocky moments. At games, some fans started chanting disapproving remarks from the stands. His star, once so bright, began to dim. Of course, it wasn't just his playing style that held Julian back. There was another, more unavoidable issue: his height. At a time when the average NBA point guard stands at 6'3", Julian topped out at 5'7" inches and consequently struggled to convince college coaches that he could compete at the next level. Basketball is a sport where size matters, and even the most skilled players can find themselves overlooked if they don't have the physical attributes to match their talent. Sure, Julian had incredible ball handling skills and an uncanny ability to shoot from deep, but against bigger, stronger college players, his size became a glaring disadvantage. And unfortunately, no amount of skill could fully overcome that. In fact, no matter how much skill he had, the size disadvantage became impossible to ignore. Sure, he kept putting up big numbers every season, but scouts and colleges didn't seem convinced he could translate his game to higher levels. Despite the hype, Division I offers never materialized. His father, Julian Newman, claimed that schools like Kansas and Florida had shown interest, saying Julian had at least 15 offers. But without proof, most assumed that wasn't the case. Fans started to ask tough questions. Was Julian's game too flashy for its own good? Was it just the viral fame that kept him in the conversation? Whatever the answer, his basketball career stalled just as quickly as it had started. What does Julian Newman do now? So where's Julian now? 4 years after finishing high school, he's still playing basketball, but not where many thought he would be. You won't find him in the NCAA or the NBA. Instead, Julian's focus has shifted. These days, he's more of a social media star than a hoops sensation, although he's currently playing college basketball for Bethesda University in California. But that's far from what we predicted his future would look like. 4 years removed from high school, it more seems like he's at a crossroads. One option is to play professionally overseas. It's a route that's worked for plenty of players who didn't take the traditional college to NBA path. Playing internationally would allow Julian to keep developing his game while earning a paycheck. It wasn't clear where he might land, but if he was serious about continuing his basketball journey, this seems like a logical step. But with over 700,000 Instagram followers and a steadily growing YouTube channel, Julian has carved out a niche for himself in the digital space. He regularly posts videos of himself working on his game, showcasing his skills, and living his life as a viral figure. Fans still tune in, perhaps out of curiosity or a lingering hope that he might find a way to defy the odds. Looking back, it's hard not to feel a little conflicted about Julian Newman's journey. On one hand, he was undeniably talented. Watching his early mixtapes, it's easy to see why so many people believed that he could be the next big thing. But on the other hand, some of the factors that derailed his career, his flashy style, his attitude, his height, were hard to ignore. It's clear that Julian Newman's career didn't follow the fairy tale script so many expected, but that doesn't mean his story is over. Who knows? Maybe he'll find success in basketball outside the NBA, or maybe he'll thrive in a completely different lane. At the end of the day, Julian's story is another evidence that potential doesn't always translate to success, and of the way fame can be both a blessing and a curse. Some elements were within his control, while others weren't. Either way, it's impossible to deny the impact he had on the basketball world, even if his career didn't play out the way many expected. He will always be remembered as the kid who made people believe in the impossible. And for some, that's more than enough.